Hey magical sparks, welcome back to my channel. It's Sparkle, and today I have something that I'm so excited to show you guys. So you know what, without any more delay, let's get straight into it. So the company Ohuhu kindly sent a lot of products for me to try out, so let's get started. The very first thing we have here is this set of fine liners or fine line drawing pens. And there's another one. The second thing we have is something brand new. It's something that they released this year and I've never tried it out. So we're gonna try it out for the very first time in this video. And it is the Ohuhu bleed-proof marker pad. Ever since Ohuhu released this sketchbook, a lot of you guys have commented and asked me to try it out. So you know what? Today's the time. And I'm really excited because a lot of people have described this sketchbook as being like magic. So let's find out exactly what that's about. Now we've got the fine liners and we've got the sketchbook, but something seems to be missing. And that is exactly where this humongous box comes in, because inside this box is a very special set of Ohuhu markers. Specifically the Honolulu set with brush tip and chisel tip markers. I also just want to take this chance to mention that while these art supplies were sent to me by the company very kindly, all my thoughts and opinions and reviews in this video will be 100% honest and 100% my own. Also, thank you so much Ohuhu for giving me this opportunity. I cannot wait to try out this new sketchbook. Alrighty, so now that we've got everything set up and looking pretty, I think it's time that we unpack and look at each art supply in detail. We're also going to be doing a lot of drawing, and also I'm going to be sharing some school stories because this video is going to be based on the theme of school story time. But let's start it off by looking at the markers, because I think they are definitely going to be the star of today's video. And voila, here we go, all 120 markers. And now let's see what we get in this marker set. First off, we've got a protective sheet, which is very useful. Next up, we have this kind of information booklet about Ohuhu, and inside there's lots of cool information. My favorite page is probably this one because you can see all the markers and colors that you get in this specific marker set. Aside from that, there is another sheet with some information, and also we have finally one of the best things. We have these swatch cards, which is perfect to swatch the markers and to have a nice reference of all the colors in the marker set. And that's basically everything in the marker set. That is except for the markers. So let's look at one up close. Here is how the marker looks. As you can see, it's brush tip and broad tip. Here is how the brush tip looks. It comes to a nice fine point, and also the brush tip is reversible. And on this side we have the broad tip, also known as the chisel nib. And here's how that looks. And by the way, for anyone who's wondering, yes, the cap does fit on the other side of the marker. That's always a good thing, isn't it? Now, I've used a couple of Ohuhu marker sets in the past. I've used the skin tone set, the pastel marker set, I used some of the Kala series, and also the 300 plus marker set as well. But this is my first time trying out the 120 marker set, and by just looking at it, it's pretty obvious that I think there's a really good number of markers in this set. And I'm also really happy with how the packaging has a partition. Like, as you can see, it is divided into 4 sections, which makes it really easy to organize your colors into different categories. Personally, I prefer if it's like this instead of having tiny individual sections to put each marker, because when there's like individual sections for each marker, it takes a lot longer for me to pack everything up and put it in that perfect rainbow order. But when I have it like this, it's just a lot more easy. Like, it's pretty obvious. The blues go with the blues and the pinks go with the pinks, and that's basically it. And it still looks quite organized as well. Now next up, let's look at the fine line drawing pens. So we have 8 pens in this set, and they have a lot of different variety. Like, we've got brush nibs and really fine nibs and some thicker nibs, and it's really cool because I have this exact same set. I got it in 2021, and believe it or not, up to this day, each and every single marker in that set is working, and I've used it a lot and it's still working. So I'm really excited to see just how long this pen set will last me as well. And now, my friends, it is time to open the package that I am honestly the most excited to try out. It is the marker pad. I cannot wait to see how it works and if it works, because the idea is that you can draw on both sides of the paper with markers and there won't be any kind of ghosting or bleed through or any show through at all. And today we're gonna put that to the test and see if it's true. Anyways, the first thing that I noticed is that the cover of the sketchbook is so smooth. I'm actually curious, can we use markers on the front cover because it's really smooth? And also, the paper in this sketchbook is perforated, which means you can easily tear out your drawings and give them to your friend. And the paper itself is super smooth, super thick, really white, and it seems perfect. Let's do a lot of layering, but not now, just a little bit later. Because right now, I want to go ahead and swatch all my markers and see exactly what colors we get in this set. Back when I got my very first marker set, the way it worked was that you'd basically just get a pre-printed swatch sheet with your marker set, and while that was kind of nice, I personally preferred this, the new way of doing it, which is where you get to kind of swatch your markers by yourself on a piece of paper, because this way you get a more accurate representation of how the colors look, and also it's just super satisfying and super fun. And just like that, we're done. Here is how the first color swatch looks. Now it's time to magically do the second one. Of course, with the magic of editing, that is. And here are all the colors in the set. What do you guys think? I think there's a really good variety of greens and grays and blues, and also just lots of different tones of red, orange, and browns as well, which is pretty cool. Anyways, that's basically our swatch cards complete, and now we can pack them up and use them for reference later on when we're coloring. Anyways, I think it's time to do something exciting. So guess what? The marker pad came with a user manual, and actually the user manual has the same texture as the paper inside, so we can actually draw on the back of this to test out the paper inside before we actually use our sketchbook, which I think is such a great way to kind of familiarize yourself with the paper and how it feels, and just try a bunch of art supplies on it as well. So of course, the very first thing I wanted to try out was our fine liner set. Look at how good this brush tip is. That was my very first thought. And then I just went ahead and tried out each of the different nib sizes. For me personally, I usually use the 0.05 nib because it's so fine and it's so perfect for the type of art that I like to do, especially if I'm drawing a small drawing in like an A5 sketchbook or something. But all the other nibs are super nice as well. As you can see, they flowed very nice on the paper, and there's a really good variety of different nib sizes too. The main reason why I love these markers is because after you outline your drawing, you can use either watercolors on top or you can use alcohol-based markers, and neither of them will smudge. Later on, I realized that there was a pamphlet in the back of the fine liner set, and I think this is a pretty good way of kind of showing the difference between the different nib sizes. Alright then, moving on, let's see if this paper is actually good at holding the ink in markers. And I'll tell you something, I layered that green marker on that little circle about 5 or 7 times, and at the end of it, there was no bleed through at all. Like the entire time, after using it that many times and after doing so much layering and everything, there was 0 bleed through, which is exactly what I expected, but still, it surprised me a lot. Something else that surprised me was that this paper felt just like normal paper, and it was super easy to blend on, because last year I tried using stone paper, and while the ink did not bleed through to the other side, it was really weird to use markers on it. It just felt weird, but this just felt like normal paper, which was so nice because it was so easy to use, and as you can tell, there was 0 bleed through. So today we're going to be working on a pretty detailed, humongous illustration. But before that, I wanted to start off with something slightly simpler, but also extremely fun, which is to draw a dessert, because drawing desserts is just absolutely fun and a great way to make yourself hungry. So I decided to draw a little simple cupcake with a bunch of icing on top. And while I'm working on that, I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the markers, the fine liners, and the sketchbook. Starting it off with the markers, I think there is a really good variety of colors in the 120 marker set. I'm also happy that it's brush tip and chisel tip, so it's really easy to color in those big spaces and also color in those small spaces while being able to easily blend as well. I'm also glad that the marker set came with a protective sheet and that the caps do fit on the other side, because that's pretty handy. I also like that with the fine liners, there's a really good variety of different line weights and variation. And like I said before, the fact that it works well with alcohol markers And watercolors is, in my opinion, a very big pro. Like, I'm not kidding. There was a point in time, I think it was 2020, where I was trying so hard to find a fine liner that worked well with alcohol markers and watercolors, but it was almost impossible. But that was until I came across the Ohuhu fine liners almost 1 year later, and that was a complete game changer for me. And about the sketchbook, I think it works amazingly with markers, easy to use, easy to blend, does not pass through, the ink does not show through on the other side, which is perfect. I haven't tried using it with pencils or watercolors though, so I can't really speak to that, but with markers they work amazingly. And here we go, our drawing is complete. What do you guys think? I think that looks delicious, but it's probably a little more icing than I can eat for one cupcake. Nevertheless, let's keep going. Also, if you've watched this far, I have something special to tell you. So Ohuhu has kindly provided me with a coupon code. So if you'd like to have a 10% discount on any products that you buy on the Ohuhu website from the 18th of September to the next 6 months, feel free to use the code SPARKLE10. More details in the description. Also, like I said before, the theme for today's video is school story time, and the reason why is because Ohuhu is having a special back to school sale on their website, so a big shout out to them. If you'd like to check it out, make sure to visit their website. But the rest of this video is going to be dedicated towards working on this drawing here and sharing some stories from school. So let's get started. Now, the first story I want to share with you guys is about my art teacher. So I had the best art teacher when I was in primary school. This art teacher, she was amazing. She was so kind, so inspirational. She planned out these amazing lessons for us for each and every single class. We did basically everything from collaging to using clay and sculpting and painting, and we did so many fun and crazy things. And every single time in art class, I would be so excited because I could literally go to class and learn something new every single time. Like, I went to Miss Ryan's class, and that's exactly when I learned how to draw a horse. That's when I learned so many things, like how to sculpt a pot, how to draw different things, and how to be creative. She also taught us a lot about like hand lettering and stuff like that. She was amazing, and I'm so grateful that she was my art teacher because she genuinely inspired me so much, and she made school such an amazing experience. Not just her, but just all of my teachers in general. Like my sports teachers were amazing. They were so encouraging and so motivational, and they were kind of just like those amazing people who encourage you to never give up and who make a kid feel special by telling them you can do anything, you can achieve anything in this world, anything is possible. Basically amazing. And throughout the years, I have had many amazing teachers. They've all been so supportive, and I can't say their names in this video, all of their names, but I will say that they were all amazing. And if they're watching this right now, thank you so much. You have really made school an amazing experience for me. Thank you so much. Now, next up, I have this really funny story from years and years ago. So this was back when I think I was in prep or something, and my friends and I, we went to get an ice cream from the canteen. And we got an ice cream, and it was that time of year when hats weren't compulsory during lunchtime. And it's so funny. We were all just eating ice cream and just talking to each other, and then suddenly we saw my friend had some ice cream on her nose, but she didn't realize. Then we asked her, "How did you get ice cream on your nose?" And then it was so weird because she touched it and then she realized it was bird poo, and it was so weird but so funny. But yeah, that was another fun memory. It's like one of those things where if you talk about it after a couple of years or days at least, it's funny. But when it happens, like at that time, it's quite literally the opposite. Next up, let me tell you the story about my very first exam in my entire time as a student. So when I had my very first set of exams, I was stressing out because I had never had exams before and I did not know what to expect. So I was studying so hard. I remember for 1 week, all I did was only study. I did not let myself watch TV. I did not let myself do anything because I was so stressed. Because for me, I'm kind of the type of person who like always wants to get the best marks. And because of that, I just wanted to do my best and to see what I got. And I studied so hard. I made this entire plan. I made a humongous checklist. I made some mini booklets. I did practice exams and everything like that. And guess what? At the end of the day, for the exam that I wrote, I got 99.5%, and that was one of the proudest moments that I have ever experienced. Moments that I have been prouder are when I got 100% on tests, because honestly, nothing beats that. Now, hard work is important, but that doesn't mean I'm saying just lock yourself in your room and study, because that was just what I did for my very first exam, because I didn't exactly know what to expect. But as time went on, I became much more efficient with how I use my time. And basically, I would be able to watch TV and to draw and to relax and to sleep in and to basically just have a social life before my exams, because eventually I learned the power of balancing your time and managing your time. Because if you manage your time efficiently and effectively, you can study for your exams and you can get 100% while still having fun and watching a series on Netflix. Also, let's just take a quick break because I want to show you guys something quite special. The colorless blender. I used to wonder what the purpose of this was, but honestly, this marker is really impressive. For example, here I accidentally got some purple marker on the page and I didn't want it to be there. But after layering the colorless blender on that area and gradually letting it dry, you will see that the purple ink basically disappeared. So the colorless blender is kind of like a magical eraser, and in that way it was super duper useful. Anyways, back to the story time. Now, another fun memory that I have of school is learning how to play netball, because until I joined the netball club, I genuinely did not know what netball is, how to play netball. But after just a couple of days, with a lot of help from friends, I became almost a pro at it. And then I got my own netball, and then my friends and I started playing on the basketball courts, and it was so much fun. Like, lunchtime would come and a bunch of people would just join us, random people from different grades that we didn't even know, but it was like always super fun. And honestly, school is just the perfect time to try out new things and meet new people. You know something? Students are really creative. My friend's class came up with an amazing idea and got art class in on it as well, and the teachers. So to celebrate our year end and just to say goodbye to the class and the teachers and everyone, they decided to film a mannequin challenge video, which was so cool to rewatch. It's basically where they got all the students to stand in random places in the classroom as statues, and then one person, they got a camera and just like walked around the classroom and recorded a mannequin challenge. And it was just a fun memory to rewatch with the teachers and the class, and it was just like a really nice fun farewell. Also, for my middle school graduation, there was this really cool concept our teachers came up with where we sang songs, and it was such a beautiful harmony. So each class sang a different song, and then at the end we combined and sang the same song, and it was so beautiful. I think almost everyone was crying. It was just so nice. And just a lot of fun things happened in primary school and middle school. Another fun thing that happened was I got my Ducks Award, which was something I was not expecting. And I also got a Principal's Award and just a lot of awards that made me feel so happy and so proud of myself as well. And the thing is, I wasn't trying to get these awards. The only thing that I wanted to do while I was in school, the one and only thing, was to try my best. I never wanted to walk away from any kind of situation and to think I didn't do my best, because that's just like one of the worst things to regret. So every time I wrote any test, any kind of assignment, assessment, or anything, I would always try to do my best. It doesn't matter what mark I get at the end, as long as I know in my heart that I did my best. Because like any emotion, your confidence and your happiness and your joy should come from inside of you. Because something I learned at my time in school was that if you associate your joy with your marks, then if you get marks that you're not happy with, that means you're not going to be joyful, you're not going to be happy. But if your happiness comes from inside of you, that means no matter what the world throws at you, no matter what mark you get, you can always be happy. Like, that is within your control, and that's what makes you powerful. And now, one of the best things about school is definitely friends and just having those amazing close friendships. And I remember that there was this one time I went to camp, and the thing is, I love riding my bicycle, right? I always used to ride my bike as a little kid, but eventually what happened is my bicycle got old and we moved houses and then we threw it away, and then it had been about 3 or 4 years since I'd ever even touched a bike or tried to ride one. So what happened is I went on this camp, and part of the camp was to go mountain biking. So I decided that, you know what, I haven't ridden a bicycle for almost 4 years, but maybe I'll give it a try. And I realized that technically I hadn't forgotten how to ride a bicycle. So the second I hopped on, I knew exactly how to ride it. But the problem was I was a tiny bit slow. But you know what was so nice? All my friends and my teacher as well, they all stayed behind with me as I was riding it, because you know when you ride a bicycle after a long time, sometimes it's just really hard to get that momentum. So at the beginning I was kind of slow, and they all just rode with me, which was so sweet, so kind. They stayed back, they didn't have to, but they did, and it was absolutely sweet. Eventually, I picked up the pace. I learned how to go a bit faster because my muscle memory was kind of warming up, and then we caught up with the group. But just the fact that they stayed behind is genuinely so sweet and so kind, and honestly, we can do anything for friends because they will do anything for us. My friends are just so nice. Like when I first started my channel, they were amazing at commenting and subscribing, and they were always messaging me every time I reached like 70 subscribers, 75 subscribers, 80 subscribers. It was like, congrats, congrats, congrats. They're just so sweet. And especially last year when I reached 100k, and this year when I reached 300k, everyone's just so nice. Anyways, I do have a lot of different stories from school, but it's just like hard to remember them off the top of my head. Still, I hope you guys enjoyed that mini story time session. I hope it was fun. It's something different, but still, hope it was fun. Anyways, as you can see, our drawing is coming together, and this drawing took me hours and hours and hours of planning, sketching, outlining, coloring, finalizing. But at the end of the day, I think it was totally worth it. The only thing I regret is not adding fairy wings because I kind of ran out of room and I thought it would mess up the composition. But other than that, I think it looks kind of cool. And it also matches with our cupcake as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And again, just a quick reminder that Ohuhu is having their back to school sale on their website, ohuhu.com. Feel free to check it out. There's a lot of discounts happening. And also, if you would like a 10% discount on their website as well, feel free to use the coupon code that I mentioned earlier in this video, and it's also going to be listed in the description as well. Big thank you to Ohuhu for sending me our art supplies to try out. I had a great time using them, and this is probably one of the best drawings that I've made this year. I'm super proud of it, and as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Anyways everyone, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a fabulous day. Stay awesome as always, and I will see you all in the very next video. By the way, if you managed to watch all this way into the video, feel free to comment this emoji down below. Thank you for watching. Bye!